That was not cute, but that just shows even more that it has been a day. Hello everybody, I'm Caroline. If you don't know me, I'm currently an exchange student in Lima, Peru, and I'm going to tell you about some tips that you should know before you go on exchange. So the first thing I have to talk about is languages. Learn the language of your, host country? I almost said sponsoring country, but no, that's not right. It's your host country. Why can't I think? Learn the language of your host country as much as you possibly can before you go. It will help you out so much. You have no idea. I studied 2 years of Spanish in high school, and when I got here, I still knew basically nothing, and I really couldn't do anything. And there's a whole bunch of exchange students here who did know Spanish pretty well, and now they're poof, their Spanish is just poof, they're fluent and everything. And for me, I can communicate and converse and it's fine, but at the same time, I'm at the point now where me being fluent by the end of my exchange, no, that's not going to happen. So another thing is my mindset kind of before I left the United States, where I'm from, is that I was oh, no, I'm just going to speak as much English as I possibly can before I go, because I'm not going to ever speak English while I'm there. Yeah, no. I mean, for us Americans and other English speakers, that's definitely the case, because English is definitely the most international language of the world. But at the same time, you will have many opportunities to speak your native language. Do not worry. Buying things like grammar books, all these little study tools and whatever you can have, even using Duolingo is so much better than nothing, because otherwise, yeah, you're gonna be lost, hun. Tip number 2 is not to overpack. So I heard this so many times and I still overpacked. For me, I got 2 checked bags. Both of them were overweight, I think, when I came. And let me tell you, I have still bought a lot of things while I've been here. The other thing is, I a lot of the clothes and stuff I brought, I don't use them. You really don't need that much, especially it's more common in South America. But so for me is that at school you have a uniform and everything, so during the week you're not really using as much clothes, I guess. So that's another thing to think about, is you're just not gonna need that many clothes you might think is practical. Just you're going to find that you actually won't need a lot of the things that you do think you need. Tip number 3 is to reach out to people, and if you're like me, that can be super duper hard to because I'm very much the type of person where I'm hey, you come to me, I do not come to you. But that's another thing where you're just gonna have to go outside of your comfort zone and just talk to people and try to be as friendly and nice as possible and make friends and do things, because that's something that you want during exchange. So it's very important to go out and do things with people and make the first move, I guess, because that's one thing I did not do at the beginning of exchange that I regret doing. Also, if it's possible, make friends with people in your country before you go on exchange. I had the opportunity to do that, but I was very much just I don't actually know these people, so But the nice thing with the internet these days is that we can still actually communicate and talk to people that we haven't met yet, which is awesome and something I really wish I took advantage of. So if you are able to do that, because you will just make friends so much faster when you actually get to meet in person. Next tip is to stay busy. This is the most essential thing ever. And 2 things you might want to do to stay busy is know your language somewhat, so that way you can communicate with people, and to reach out to people and make friends, because otherwise you might not be as busy. And staying busy, that's kind of the point of exchange, as far as experiencing the culture and just the lifestyle and everything. Staying busy also keeps your mind off of home and things like that, so that way you don't have to worry about things like getting homesick that much because your mind is too busy living in the moment and experiencing your exchange, which is an awesome feeling. So when you are not busy, take advantage of your free time because it is so important. For me, I don't do it and have not done it as much as I should, and that's another thing I really regret because there's a whole lot of things that you can do with your free time. One of those major things being studying your language. If you have a lot of study materials and other things, that will make that a lot easier. Just things like memorizing songs in your languages, watching Netflix in your language, like that's better than nothing. Another thing I really like to do with my free time that I think is super important is to have a journal to write in or to blog. So I have a blog. I'll actually put that somewhere so whoever can look at it if you want to. And I also keep a journal for, to keep track of those things that you don't really want to put on the internet, I guess. But yes, it's awesome to have all of those things and just keeping a record for everything you do on exchange, because that way you're going to be able to look back and see things and be like, oh my gosh, I remember doing that, and otherwise you might not remember. And plus with the blog, that I really like about it is that it keeps everyone at home updated, so you don't have to contact home as much per se, because you're putting everything on your blog and letting everyone know what you're doing and knowing that you're okay and everything, which is awesome, and it's really fun to do too. Going into that is watching your contact with people at home. So you want to make sure that you contact them enough, but at the same time that you don't contact them too much. You gotta find the nice in the middle in between to just go by. It's important to keep regular contact, which can get complicated sometimes. There's a motorcycle. Because you don't want them to just be I have no idea what is going on in your life at all. And recently I have been kind of bad with that just because a lot has happened recently, and I've been and my family's all oh, we didn't know about that. And I'm just sorry. The next tip that you will definitely want to keep in mind is to always, no matter what, ask for help. This is another thing that I have a problem with just because I'm a very shy and a proud person, so I'm just kind of I can do it on my own, it's fine. But the reality is if that you have someone there to help you, it will be 10 times better in whatever case, whether that is you need something to talk about and you need mental help. That's more, it's gonna happen, trust me. Help with your language. That's another thing I really wish I had done, because we have a Spanish teacher here and he's been talking to me recently. He's like, why didn't you ask me for help in the beginning? And I'm just I don't know. Asking for help, especially in the beginning, can totally sway the direction that your exchange will go in. Even Rotarians, if you're having problems with anything, host family, school, your mental state of being, just ask for help. It's so much better than just being I'll just hope for the best. No, ask for help. It's the best thing to do. Another thing with that is to not let people ruin your exchange, which it's not difficult for people to ruin your exchange, really. Especially here, there's been a lot of people that have had a super hard time with host families, making friends, and all sorts of things. And it's very possible that could happen, and that, you just have a lot of rotten people around you. I am sorry for my English. It's just, I don't speak very much English anymore, sorry. Another thing that you have to remember during this time are things like cultural differences. A lot of people, especially, as I said, I'm here in South America, it's a lot different. People's state of mind, their way of life in general, and way they do things is totally different than in the United States, where everything is just super cautious of what you say and things and what you do. And just in other places in the world, it is not like that. You have to remember to think positive and just keep your mind on the right road, which can be difficult to do sometimes, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that will go on exchange that sometimes cannot be in your control. But at the same time, it's kind of it's what you make of it. So just remember that, and again, asking for help could help out with a lot of those things of don't let people ruin your exchange. And another thing is you will meet and find so many amazing people that there will always be somebody there for you. And always remember to be there for people too, because it's more likely that lots of people are going to need help during this time. Next, remember the opportunity of going on exchange and just how amazing that is, and the fact that you're never going to get to do this again. Really sad to think about, but at the same time, especially when you put yourself in that mindset, you're more likely to take advantage of everything. Remembering that and taking advantage of everything, you have to remember that this is a time that you will never ever get back. That's kind of like a life thing, I feel like, but at the same time, when you're going on exchange, like, that's totally different because you're living a totally different life, and you just have to think, I'm never gonna have this life back, like, and it's going by in 1 year, so it's like, and stay busy, take advantage of everything, and just remember the amazing opportunity you have to be doing this. Lastly, and most importantly, I would like to say, do not stress or compare your exchanges. Everybody's exchange is totally different. Everything's going to be changing, and everyone's going to be going through different things, and everyone's just way of life in general is going to be so different. So whether you're looking at people here, whatever, just don't compare your exchanges to other people. Even having to do with language and stuff, where it's like, oh, they're picking it up faster than I am, like, like, you can't compare that, or else that's just going to bring you down even more. Remember to just live. Just, that's all you can really do. And like, that's the best thing you can do, is to just live to the fullest. And as I said, take advantage and just be awesome. Just live. Don't stress about it. Don't stress about, whatever things could be going on. Or if things don't go as planned, or if you don't feel like something is going the way that it should be, or, oh, this hasn't happened to me yet. You just don't stress about it and just go, you know what, maybe just enjoy your time and live, because that's really what this time is all about. That is all I have to say for this video. I hope that you were able to take something from this, and especially if you're going on exchange or whatever, that would, yeah, I really hope so, because these are all things that I think are really helpful, and that I especially wish that I had known before I left for my exchange. So yes, I will be back with more tips and fun videos. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!